Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at energy fuels. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking on the large time frame this simple 1-2 setup from the very beginning, and then we are looking for a third wave to the upside, where an ideal target for such a wave 3 is the 138.2% extension at around the $130 level in the case of this chart and of this setup. Now it doesn't need to stop there. Third waves to the upside can be especially bullish and exceed any real expectations we may have, but if we fail to get to that point, this chart is still under heavy risk that could turn this movement, this pattern, into an ABC movement to the upside, where an ideal target for a wave C is instead the 100% extension, and in that case we may face still a very sharp and a very deep correction afterwards. It could still become a 1-2-1-2 setup. That is very fine, not a problem with that interpretation, but at that point, after we have the 5 waves complete in this area, and especially if they complete below the 138.2% extension, there is a high risk that this is a complete pattern and we may be heading even to new all-time lows. Now it may be just a larger diagonal pattern forming up, where this would be an ABC pattern in a wave 1, but even in that case it wouldn't be something of a high probability, so it will be pretty crucial in my opinion to hold here a correction in 3 waves within a wave 2 to hold the support zone for such a wave 2. Now enough with this larger time frame, because we haven't even completed the initial 5 waves to the upside within this pattern, which could be a number of different interpretations. And we have so far only a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, a third wave up, which now is actually possibly complete, because in the previous video I provided you this interpretation in the blue scenario, where I was looking for still one more high to have a full count within this internal 5th wave to the upside within the larger third wave, where we are generally tracking a 1, 2, 3, 4th and the 5th. We needed one more high, we got it, and this is what followed, this strong push to the downside. And in the blue scenario I have the pattern complete, so I will remove the support zone because it is no longer useful. It did provide support. In fact, we did reach the 38.2% retracement from which we built this internal wave 5 to the upside within the larger wave 5 structure, right? So it worked out perfectly, the ideal target, the 38.2% retracement, right? Now we can remove this and leave just the larger count within the blue scenario, because we are still tracking a possible completion here in this case. And then what else can we really look for? Well, firstly, we have the larger support zone, the larger scenario in green, where I'm still looking for this larger wave 4 to complete, for which I see support between the $17.6 level all the way down to the $10.7 level. Now this is the support zone area for an impulse that would be building to the upside, but considering that this movement did extend quite a lot compared to the wave 3, it actually did reach what we see compared to this wave 3, the 100% extension, and it did so in a diagonal structure. We could of course be tracking it as a series of 1-2 setups, and it could be working out still for a third wave to follow up in a very impulsive fashion. But there is a risk right now that this could be still a wave 3 to the upside, but within an ABC pattern, in which case we may be looking at an overall large diagonal structure building in this area with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so still the 5 waves, but in this case within a diagonal where the support zone could be allowed to extend all the way down to the 61.8% retracement, the $8.6 level instead. Now I'm not necessarily convinced it will go that deep. It is just an idea and something that we should keep in mind, because the structure does allow for such an interpretation, and in some cases may even suggest it, because especially here in the daily time frame we are actually having 0 divergences, so it does suggest that this is an ABC pattern to the upside instead. Could be even something like an ABC, where even within this wave C we could get 1 or 2 more highs in fact. Now, I won't keep that interpretation necessarily on the chart, but I will continue to track extensions within this diagonal structure because, yeah, I cannot count this pattern to the upside within an impulse. And I could count it as a series of 1-2 setups, this being the latest 1-2 setup in this area, because I can count this both as an ABC pattern to the upside and as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within the white scenario. And yeah, I don't believe we are getting an internal extension within this wave 3. I believe if we really are to follow the white interpretation here, it is going to be, actually let me put it back, it is going to be where the third wave has already topped, and yeah, we are looking now for the larger wave 4. And that is mainly because within this fourth wave movement that would have started in the case of the smaller count that we were possibly considering here in white, we actually broke, I didn't mean to do that, we actually broke below the 61.8% retracement, yeah, pretty convincingly even, and we have been basically trending below it. So yeah, in this case, I will remove the smaller count. I will consider in the white scenario this third wave complete, and I will look at the general area of support for such an interpretation, and in the levels between the $22.5 level all the way down to the $16.3 level, where we actually are hanging around the 38.2% retracement, the ideal target for such a wave 4 once again. Now, what else is there to look for? So this is an area pretty interesting, still pretty good probabilities for continuation higher, especially since within the RSI we maybe on the 4-hour time frame we do see a small divergence. So yeah, don't get me wrong, it is still possible to follow the blue scenario in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where this third wave in green is complete and we are heading in the larger support zone, but it is still very much in play, this continuation in one more high within this white scenario, and I find it a good area to start accumulating even before the larger support zone. But if you are looking from a longer time frame perspective, yeah, it is generally best to wait for the larger moves because those are generally much more reliable. Now they do overlap significantly, I mean somewhat significantly, the 50% all the way down to the 61.8%, pretty much all overlapping. And what else could we be looking for? Well, there is again the interpretation that this is instead a series of 1-2 setups, and in that case we could be looking at an area of support that would be heavily overlapping with the white scenario, which is an additional reason to consider an entry in this area, because this could turn into a 1-2 setup where we would then be looking for a very strong third wave to the upside. Now this is fully within the white support zone, so we don't really need it on the chart. Just keep in mind this could be a simple fifth wave to the upside in an ABC pattern, but if it becomes a very impulsive movement to the upside, although I don't believe if it really is a wave 3 in this case that we will see a lot of structure, because yeah, it would actually need to be very strong. But if we see such strength to the upside, we may have a hint that yeah, this is developing as a wave 3 instead. And for now there really isn't much else to add. You have the general areas of support, the shorter time frame, the white support zone still very much relevant, and even if it doesn't work out to build a fifth wave from this area, I do believe it is still likely to form at least, maybe even going all the way to the 61.8% retracement, maybe not, but we may at least see a relief rally before we head lower even within this wave 4 in green. Now, I don't expect necessarily the largest correction within the wave 4. It should be somewhat comparable to this correction in a wave 2, but corrections can unfold either to the sideways or in a more deep and quicker correction, in a deeper and quicker fashion, to still allow for the indicators to reset and yeah, all the goods to be prepared for the next movement to the upside. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.